Welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. We're just setting up for today's event. While you enter the Zoom room or watch us on YouTube, type in where you are watching us from. We're in 72, nearly 74 countries now. So looking forward to seeing everybody in about 60 seconds from now. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome online for Members Night Live now. Some people don't speak English fluently, and with that in mind, we do have closed captions, and I do speak fast. So have a quick listen to this.
Untuk mengaktifkan terjemahan bahasa Indonesia, silakan klik caption di panel laptop atau handphone Anda semua.
Para poder obtener la traducción en español, es necesario hacer clic en el menú de Zoom y elegir la opción Subtítulos en español.
大家好，如果你想看字幕，请按屏幕底下的 CC 按钮，选择中文。此功能仅适用于直播。
Bonjour, bienvenue à cet événement Numi. Vous pouvez activer les sous-titres dans votre langue en cliquant sur Sous-titres au bas de l'écran. Veuillez noter que cette option fonctionne uniquement dans la salle Zoom en direct. Merci et bonne écoute.
大家好，如果你想看字幕，請按屏幕底下嘅 CC 按鈕選擇中文。呢個功能淨係適用於直播。
Alrighty, please welcome your MC for today, Keith Chazon.
Hey, welcome everyone. I had to quickly change my language from Spanish to English. I am Keith Chasson. Jamie and I, Numi Double Diamonds. We've been with the company since April 2022, and we couldn't be more excited. Numi Members Night is actually my favorite night of the week because it's where we can come together as a community and learn some tips and tricks and nuggets to help us just go to the next level. And so tonight is really, really special. I did get a little preview prior to this kicking off, and it's going to be something very, very exciting. So make sure you got your pen and paper handy. Be ready to take a lot of notes because these nuggets are going to help you go from where you are now to the next level you're looking to achieve. And to kick it off tonight is none other than Numi's founding field advisory board member, the first Numi Crown, my friend and mentor, Michael. Take it away.
Beautiful. Thank you, buddy. And so what do they say? Teamwork makes the dream work. So what you guys don't know is behind the scenes with 10 minutes to go, we literally were pre-talking to the people we're going to interview today that will be sharing us some pearls and wisdom with you. And of course, there's my beautiful friend Phoebe Wallace, who's always helping me get people in the door. And this machine would not be possible if there wasn't lots of people. So teamwork makes the dream work. I want you all to do me a huge favor, though, because the reason I was a little late getting this event was I was running a, whoops, someone's confirming my language, make it English. I don't speak Spanish either. The reason I was a little late is because it is my beautiful wife, Liz's birthday. So you can type it in the chat, but she's not here. You know what you should do? Go to, if you are Facebook friends already, go to my Facebook wall. I just did a live stream giving away some free product from last week. And I said, hey, type in the chat, happy birthday, and you'll get brownie points, and maybe you'll go to the top of the list for the giveaway. So go and wish Liz a happy birthday on Facebook when you get a minute. She is our poster girl, if you didn't know that. I'm not sure if you all know this, but let me find it, actually. I had it 2 seconds ago. This is my beautiful partner, Liz. Where are we? Here. Let me open it back up. Liz, there it is. So you may or may not realize that this is Liz. And so every time you share a video, Liz is helping you grow your business. Did you know that that is Liz on the video in every single language around the world? She didn't even know when we met, because that was 3 months into our relationship. And I said, hey, would you do me a favor? Would you be a model? She goes, I'm not a model. And I said, I had to be tactful in my answer. I said, look, you're not a supermodel, but you're gorgeous and you're a normal, everyday, beautiful woman. And we need somebody who looks normal. And I don't think she realized what she was getting into, because here we are today. She's in every language. I just had it converted to Greek and to Japanese, and her face is all over the joint, which is amazing. So I love Members Night because it's an opportunity to come together as a community, as Keith said beautifully, but it's also a way of us taking some of the wisdom of what's happening in the field with certain people and giving it to everybody, and you can play it back as a recording. I love the invitation Jack sent out. If you're not using the app, you should be, because there was an alert went out. It said, ever noticed how some members stay at the same rank for a while? Have you experienced that? Maybe it's you. Then all of a sudden, they have rapid explosive growth. This week, Members Night, we're going to be diving into that exact phenomenon with a special interview. What are your blind spots? Is there a small change you can make that might lead to a huge leap in business growth? And you're going to be hearing that today. Okay, we're going to interview 2 people. So with that in mind, what I'm going to talk about first is an interesting thing. As we go on, if I graphed the Noumi business for you, has it been one of these things where it goes, I need to from here right up to there? No, it's gone like this. The success looks like this, but it's always going upwards. It's just sometimes up, sometimes down, but the constant growth is going upwards. We've now opened more and more and more and more and more countries. And so what's interesting is, as your business grows, I have a situation in one of my legs where there is the beautiful Karen Justice, fastest crown on record, and down underneath that you end up with the amazing Dr. Jerry as a crown, and eventually you get to Nicole Bichette as a crown, and you keep going down into the group. There's more and more diamonds and people all over the place. So often, as one of the founding advisory board members in a crown, I may not have my finger on the pulse with everything, but I would love to help everybody. But there's so many people in the team, you can't one-on-one help everybody. But what I love is when down the bottom of a team, something happens that makes you reconnect, and then everything changes. Because sometimes down a line of that many people, systems and processes could be watered down, meaning, and I can't know if you can say Chinese whispers these days. I used to say that thing that you could whisper in someone's ear and the next person says it, the next person says it, the next person says it. By the time they come back to you, it's like, I didn't say that at all. We've got a totally different sentence, totally different meaning. And that can happen as you get down where maybe systems and processes don't get promoted. And so maybe they dilute. In fact, before I get into that, just an hour ago, after wishing Liz a happy birthday and having a coffee, and I had a great call with the Peru team. And what was interesting there is down line under 3 crowns. A leader has moved on and left. But they've left behind gold nuggets, beautiful people who are so engaged in Latin America to explode Noumi. So this individual left, and that's totally okay. We wish them all the best. But that leader left behind some amazing diamonds and gold nuggets and crowns that are locking arms directly with us here and going to explode the Latin American market, which is exciting. So with that in mind, we're going around the world too. One day, few weeks ago, I had a Facebook request, and when someone sends me a request, I always have the same approach where I start a conversation. So it's this guy, George. I said, hey, George, thanks for adding me on Facebook, my friend. Have we met before? If we have, remind me. I apologize if I don't remember. If not, tell me a little bit about yourself. And then I just put Michael Firth, Noumi Crown. A message came in. He said, well, actually, we don't know each other, but we have reached out and we are looking at joining Irene, who was on a Greek video. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know Irene. And he said, so I understand you're the compensation plan expert. We have some questions. I'm wondering if you could do a call. And I said, absolutely. Of course, I'll do a call with you. So anyway, we hopped on a call, and there was Irene, Keith Chazon as upline supporting Irene, and there was also amazing leaders, Andreas and George, and you will meet these people very soon because there is an explosion about to happen on the 1st of October in Greece. So we got to chat and we went through how things work, but I didn't just stop at the compensation plan. I talked about the history of NUMI and how it started. I talked about the system of the NUMI 123 and the 130/10, because I like to be at the very bottom of the business, ensuring that everybody understands there is one system. Funny enough, the Latina guys this morning said, we didn't know that. They didn't know about the Facebook groups the company ran. A lot of this stuff had filtered out and they've not even seen it, whereas now they're going to engage directly in all these company tools, which is exciting. So the same thing happened. When we were doing this, Irene was on one of the calls and she actually said to me, wow, I've had some pretty big aha moments. And I'm like, So it doesn't matter. You don't have to just interview somebody who's already achieved Crown or Diamond and say, what do they know? Everyone can learn. In fact, I learned from people in the downline. I think it was last week we interviewed Italo. I learned from him with his decades of experience about how simplifying our NUMI 130/10 down to cycles was such an important thing to break it into baby steps. So what I'm going to do today is I want to bring on Irene, if you want to unmute. And Irene and I have spent a lot of time on Zooms lately, haven't we? And for me, it's probably about 7 or 8 p.m. at night. It's just perfect. But what time is it usually for you, Irene?
It's usually 5 o'clock in the morning.
So Irene's going to be using triple the amount of NUMI skin now just to keep her skin subtle from wrinkles when she's staying up at all hours of the night.
I use double neuro actually in the morning.
There you go. There you go. So what I'd love to do, and I asked Irene if she would do this for you, when she said some of the aha moments she's had through this experience for the last few weeks, I said, I think if you're willing to share these, a lot of people will get some value out of it. Because look, you don't fall on the top of a mountain. You know, if someone achieved Diamond, they did it through hard work, sweat, and if they stayed there and didn't sell their way on a Blue Friday sale, right, which I hope never happens again, they'd probably sustain it because they've built it through systems, processes, learning, aha moments. I have had so many aha moments with my mentor, Alex Monteroso, who has decades more experience than I do in the industry, and he has a lot of success that I'd never achieved in the past, so I was willing to listen. So in your case, Irene, I don't want to pump up your tires too much, but I can say through recording a Greek video that a Greek leader, who's a massive leader, happened to come across, you were the first person they started to connect with. And so Irene did something very smart, and that was enlist the help of others. So Irene is knocking on the door of 2-star. I think she'll be a diamond like a rocket now with what's going on. So let's share some of these aha moments. The other day when we were chatting, you shared with me about, what have I got here? 5 to 6 different things that you said were aha moments. The first one you said that was news to you after we ingrained the new guys in the NUMI 123 and the 130/10 and all the processes that NUMI does. You said oversharing was something that was an aha moment. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sometimes I intend it because I'm so excited, and out of my excitement, I intend to overshare. I mean, people already want to try the product, and I continue talking about it like I'm trying to convince them when they've already been convinced, and then I lose them. So, and I realized that, and I've heard you talking about it in one of your videos, and I was like, oh my God, I've been doing that a lot. So I've done this a lot out of excitement because I know everybody needs that product, and so I share it with love, but I overdo it. So that is a big one that, I mean, I lost quite a few people in the beginning, I think. I even scared my family away, I think, because of that.
That's interesting. You know what? And again, depending on the families, it's funny when you say that, because I know in Greek families, in European families, if one person does something, everybody does it. Whereas in the Australian families, if one person does it, everybody else gives them, grief about it and never joins. It's just a cultural thing. But oversharing is big, and that's why we say use the tools, don't be a tool. Let the video do the selling. Say whatever you need to excitedly to get them to watch the video. Say whatever you need to very excitedly to get them to log on to a live event with an upline, but don't blah, 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 overshare. So that's a great thing. If Irene has picked that up, could you look and like a helicopter looking down on yourself, have you been guilty of doing that? I know I did in the early days, and I know it was something I had to learn as well. The second thing you talked about is managing expectations. What did you mean with that?
Okay, yeah. In the beginning, when I started using the product, I had tremendous results and very fast, but I was very toxic. My body was very toxic, and I didn't know what was causing it at first, at that time. So when the third switch I did, all the discomfort was gone. My life was completely changed. So I started sharing with everybody that, oh my God, my life changed after 3 swishes. And everybody was expecting that their life was going to change after 3 swishes. And it didn't happen. So they were disappointed and discouraged. And then I realized that everybody's body is not the same. And people stopped using the product because it says, I haven't noticed anything. I've been using it for 4 days now. I said, you can have to continue, but you notice difference. So now I don't even tell people how long it took me to experience the results, because I don't want them to expect to get the same time frame in 3 swishes to feel no discomfort under a certain area that they did before. So that was a huge one. So I managed to calm it down a little bit, and I said, yeah, this is the results I got, but I don't give them a time frame. I said, I recommend you use it for 90 days.
Beautiful. And it's interesting, in onboarding the Greek team, I shared to them with something I share on and this again, Irene hadn't had this experience on third-party calls, but she heard me talk about, hey, there's 5 things that will generally happen when you use this product according to one of our medical advisory board. And I went through in detail. You might get more energy. It could be obvious where you go, wow, or it could be subtle. Maybe you need to go for a run. Maybe you need to go to the gym, or you won't notice it, right? You could be number 2. You might have some discomfort in a joint or something, not pain, because that's a word we don't use, discomfort. And of course, that might take 2-3 weeks using the product until you suddenly go, wow, that's weird. That discomfort's disappeared, because that's what glutathione does, is, reducing inflammation at a cellular level. It could be detox. It could be boosting your immune system. Hey, you're going to have to check in next year at the same time and see that you didn't get sick all year long. It's a hard one to monitor. And the big one is detoxification, right? It's the master detoxifier of your cells, but it's rare. And I say this, it's rare, but some people experience detox symptoms. It might be a headache, sniffly nose, more lethargic than when you first took the product. It doesn't happen to everybody, but just in case. But again, the 5th thing that they talk about is, if you have put up your hands, if you're born in the 70s, I heard this out of a doctor's mouth on the advisory board. If you have ever consumed a psychedelic in your life, you might take this product and feel euphoric, but it won't last long, because it's just detox. Whatever goes in must come out, right? And, my mum had, and I'm not suggesting we're curing her cancer. She'd recovered from cancer already. She took a glutathione product and tasted chemo 15 years after she'd had chemo. It was crazy. And the doctor said, no, that's normal. Glutathione is a master detoxifier. So it could be a psychedelic, woohoo, or it could be a yucky taste of chemo, but we're just getting what shouldn't be in the body out. And of course, I talked about that. And then I said, but that's the tip of the iceberg, as Steve Scott says. Under that is 70 to 80 different diseases are linked to oxidative stress. The first line of defense in your body is oxidative stress. You won't feel oxidative stress till it's too late. So by covering that off, that's managing people's expectations. Everyone's experience is going to be one-dimensional, okay? Really important to know. So let's talk about the next one. The big revelation for you was keeping it simple. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, I was complicating everything. I was trying to be a scientist. I was trying to be everything, like you said, I overshare. Everything was like too complicated for me. I was trying to be the professor over here. And I tried to educate myself about glutathione and every single benefit that would do. And I complicated things when you can say, oh, take this one and see what results you're going to get. It's so simple. And we have a simple system. You can actually build the business. Everything is so simple with NuMe, but I don't know why, for some reason, I looked at it a different way. I don't know. I never did network marketing in my life before. I'm a real estate agent, and nothing is simple there. I'm telling you, nothing is simple as a realtor. I had a complicated closing today. So I make complicated also sharing NuMe, sharing the product. I didn't simplify the process. Like you said, I didn't just share a video with somebody and then follow it up. I didn't even make an appointment. I didn't follow up right. So I complicated my life, and I lost people on the way because of that. And it was a huge thing I learned through the whole thing. I mean, it took me a while, but I'm learning every day. I'm still doing that.
Beautiful. Well, we're all learning and still learning. What's interesting about that is, I'll give you an insight. In the previous company that we were with when I met Steve, The product was amazing too, twice the price of what we pay here and old technology now, but great in its day. But back then, what happens, because the product was so good like ours, some people ran into this camp of knowledge. I need to know everything about glutathione. What I've noticed since we brought on the brain product, some people ran down to go out and learn everything you could possibly learn about brain health with David from the American Brain Council. And that's great if you keep that knowledge internally for internal confidence. But if that starts coming out of your mouth as the expert, exactly what Irene said, you've just complicated things. People go, I couldn't be that person. Use the tool. That's why we recorded David. That's why we recorded Bert. That's why we have Steve do the call. If you are trying to be Bert, David, or Steve, in the previous company, those people to this very day have flatlined small businesses with good customer bases, but they don't duplicate with network marketing because people go, that's too complicated. So in the previous business, I followed Alex Monterosa. He had all that knowledge, but he never came out of his mouth. It was always about watching a tool, getting on an event. So that's the important factor there. Nothing wrong with the knowledge, but if you think you need to be the information source of the knowledge, you will slow down your business endlessly. Now, another big aha moment for you was business versus product. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, when I joined the company, to tell you the truth, I joined it because it helped me. So I fell in love with the product. So I started sharing the product with everybody as the product. And I didn't really, some people by accident signed up as members. Really, they did. They didn't know what to sign up. They said if we sign up as members, they thought they were going to get a discount. So they signed up as members. So I was just focusing on sharing the product, and I didn't focus on the business side of it at all, completely. I was doing my real estate, selling houses. Okay, this person got that knew me, they're gonna feel better. Waha, great. I would call them, they wouldn't answer the phone after, so I didn't do the system right. I didn't use the system at all. So I shared the bottles of product, and if they use it, I said, okay, if they use it, it's fine. But I never shared the process. I never even told people download the app, connect them to people. I didn't do the process. I didn't follow the system. I talked to my leaders, and I was going to all the meetings and the Zoom calls, but I was all about making people feel better. And then I went to the trip in July, and I met Peter Hugo, what's his name is, and he told me that he's all about the business and the system he used, and he was like, wow. I got an aha moment right then and there in that lobby. I talked to him for an hour and a half. Actually, I recorded what he was saying, and I played it back later. It was incredible how he built the business with his product. And I said, why am I not doing that? And then these people from Greece approached me, and I was like, yeah, I can do that too. I wasn't going for the business because I said I'm no network marketer. I don't know if I can be as good as Michael is. I don't know if I can be as good as Nicole is, So I was like, okay, as long as the people try the product, I'm happy with that. I wasn't even looking how much money is in my back office. Once in a while, I go there and it's $1,000, I take it out. If there was nothing, I buy some product, or I send to my cousin in Greece some of it to buy product. I wasn't even looking for the income, but now I think there is a lot of potential for income. After I talk to Peter and after I see what is going on with my Greek people, my eyes open like this and I see the dollar signs now.
Yeah. Wow. And you know what? This is important too. Business versus product. I had this conversation yesterday with someone else. I don't promote business versus product. I promote opportunity. So the pendulum can swing one way wrong to the other. What I mean is sometimes a product person sees business as the Antichrist, right? You're trying to make money. No, we're trying to help people. I want to help people with product. So do we. We want to help them with finance and what have you. So on one hand, you have business. On one hand, you have product. And in the middle is the sweet spot, which is opportunity. Let them choose. I'm not promoting business. I'm not promoting product. I'm saying choose from the menu. So that means that's why the people who have the fastest growing businesses, and it's interesting, I mentioned this on last week's call with Italo, that's why the first two tools that are usually used for the fast-growing businesses are the 2-minute video, because it's short and sweet, but then straight onto an opportunity overview, which lets them choose which one's for them. We don't try and slowly cook the frog as a customer who'll try the product for 6 months and then eventually come into the business. We just let him choose up front. Do you want to look at that? Want to look at that? We can always come back to business later if that's what they want, or never if they don't want to. But it's giving them the opportunity in the middle rather than sharing product or business, share opportunity, let them choose from the menu. That is huge in difference with results. Now, again, not in any way de-edifying any of these tools, but Bert's science video that just came out, amazing, but I won't use it as a recruitment tool. I'll use it as a validation tool. Steve's call on glutathione, it's a great validation tool. After they've watched the first things, that's the next school we always send them to get them to meet the founder, connect with Steve, and understand the enormity of what glutathione does. But I don't do that first, because that's 40 minutes and they've got 2 minutes on a video, then 20 minutes, 25 minutes on a presentation. So that's the flow. And again, I'm talking from this perspective, how to be a crown. I'm not talking about how to build a big customer base. So if you see the world from a different perspective, or your mentor does, check with them. I'm just telling you, and I would be lying if I didn't tell you this way, that's how I built Crown. That's how I duplicated, right? So if you see it differently, that's totally okay. Now, the fifth one. This is the biggest.
Yeah.
You said connecting to leaders. Tell us about that aha moment.
Okay. I didn't want to bother anybody, to tell you the truth. I don't want to bother the people above me and say, oh, I have this person, and I don't want you to talk to them and that person. So I never connected a single person to nobody. Literally nobody. I don't recall saying, okay, let's talk to Nicole or to Keith, but it just happened with these people from Greece that I connected them to you, and I learned so much more about the system and about how amazing it is actually to connect to leaders, because you get them much more credibility, because I can say whatever I want to say, but hearing from a third party is completely different. And they felt important. They felt that people, were trying to help them, and that they were ready to join after our first meeting, to tell you the truth. They told me that, but they said, don't say anything yet. But George told me that they were ready to join from the first meeting, but they still wanted to learn more about and meet everybody. They were excited about everything. So it was important to them, and I didn't know how important it was to people. But I felt like I was bothering somebody to first of all, the leader, I was feeling bad bothering my leaders. And then I was feeling bad telling people, okay, let me connect you with somebody else to tell you what I already told you. That's what I felt. But I didn't know how important that is. And it changed completely my mentality now after this experience. I mean, the last 3 weeks is incredible. I learned so much.
Beautiful. And you know what?
Mhm.
That aha moment of that is an aha moment I had a long time ago too, because I know having a person on a three-way call that was before three-way Zooms existed, it was like, that feels rigid, it feels weird, it feels different, I can tell my friends, they listen to me, but it wasn't until I had the magic of a third-party validation from an upline who was consultative, asked lots of questions, got to know them. Irene will tell you, I didn't jump for the jugular on and George and Andreas. I just got to know them. That's what I did today with the Peru team. Got to know them, find out their background, have a bit of a giggle with them. I say there's 2 words that I know in Greece now: saganaki, my favorite food, and I can say it here, malaka. That's the only words I know. So, but we
have to teach you a better one.
Yeah, teaching me a better word. But that's building relationships first, being consultative. Tell me what you need to understand. Tell me about your background. Then going to directing where the next steps might be. So you said, in summarizing what you said today, essentially, and this is a bold thing to say and everyone to hear it, because maybe other people are doing it too. You said, basically, I didn't follow a system. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I wrote here. That last line I wrote on the message, it was, I didn't follow the system at all. And so I failed basically the system. And now I learned that how important it is. And it's so simple. And we can duplicate the business by following that system. And I keep on hearing duplication, and kind of got engraved in my mind now. So yeah, and it's a very easy system.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Irene, because being so vulnerable to share what the challenges were and the aha moments are. I'm sure there'll be people on here going, I've just had an aha moment as well. In fact, if you have had any aha moments from what Irene just shared, type in yes in the chat, because I think it's really important that people understand we don't need to know all the answers up front. It is enjoy the journey. I say sometimes people hear things coming out of my mouth, or I listen to Alex and they're like, wow, how does he know that? 38 years for me. So Irene's only been in for a little while. So this is amazing to have the aha moments now and not waiting 38 years. Now, it doesn't matter what rank you are. People have aha moments at all levels of the business. Okay. So some of you don't know this, but when we launched, yes, Alex and I were on board with Rhonda and Sherry, and we're founding members, got it all started. But there was other people who jumped on that go train before we even launched Numi, and about at least 90 days before that, I connected with James Lewis, and James and I, we don't have accents, either of us, but James and I connected, and he formed with some business partners, the LMB team, and they were the very first diamonds in, guess what, 48 hours after Numi launched. So James is with us today. Welcome, James.
Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I just wanted to hear that accent.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. You stay in South Georgia very long and you'll get one.
Now, this is interesting because we had a chat and I said, what are some aha moments for you? And what's interesting, I just personally introduced a guy myself, which I don't do all the time anymore because I'm trying to dive depth instead, but I did introduce someone, so I got my finger in the pulse. And this new guy, Matt, I introduced him to Alex, and Alex did my step 2. Alex did a third-party validation step 2. For me, I don't try and do it all on my own. I do use the process. And Alex talked about when you're getting started, if you're going to chop down a tree, how long are you going to spend sharpening your axe? He said this to Matt. And he gave a couple of key points. And what was interesting is I heard the same points come out of James's mouth. So you said about 3 aha moments as from the day we joined and started Numi to where we are today, watching various things happen. The first one you said was something about a business plan. Share that with us.
Well, if you remember, Michael, when we started, we did not have a website. We had no tools. I mean, we had an opportunity. And so the most important thing that I got out of getting started was, and this is what I try to get the people that I sponsor to do. Not all of them do it, but I go by a written list, not a list that's in my brain that can come and go when it wants to come and go. But I want a written list that I can actually check off. And when I make contact and have a discussion, I make notes. What was discussed? Are they on product? So that written list is very, very important, and that is part of the business plan. And the other was the third-party validation. So all the work we did originally was from a written list, third-party validation, and the product. The product was basically the only tool that we had, and we were able to generate enough interest off of the product, and people like connecting with people, and that's why I'm involved in the industry is the relationship building. That's what really rewards me. That's what my reward for is building these strong relationships like yours and ours that goes back, 15 years.
Totally. And so on that, the business plan, the company just brought out the 90-day plan, success plan, which is in line exactly what James is saying. Having a business plan, having not just going, I'm going to go talk to my first 20 best friends. Number one, have a business plan, work out where to from here. Now, some people are big picture people like me, and they will skim through the 90-day plan. Let's just be honest, right? Other people are detailed people, and they will read every single thing in the 90-day plan and probably tell you there's a spelling error that no one's picked up on, right? And that's totally okay too. But there is also the Fast Start Guide, which is just for people who are big picture people who go, yep, tick, 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 we're good, we're on the right direction. So knowing personality types will know whether to focus heavily on the 90-day plan in detail or just focus on a Fast Start Guide. But what James said about lists is exactly the same. I just said it myself to Matt. I said, I want you to write 2 lists. So here's a tip for everyone. List number 1, pull out a piece of paper and a pen, write every single person you've ever had human contact with. If you don't write your 100-year-old grandmother on it, you weren't listening to the advice properly. You didn't hear me. Because otherwise you're prejudging. We won't invite Auntie Mabel, she's 99. We won't invite James Lewis, he's really successful in the oil and gas industry. We won't invite Irene, she's busy as a real estate agent. You can come up with every BS excuse of not adding someone on your list. So I say, anyone with a pulse is on that list. You're not going to ring them. You may never ring them. I've got people on my first list I've never called because I put them on the list, but I didn't really like them. So I'm not going to call someone I don't want to work with, right? I like Irene. I like James. You get to work with people you love. So the first list is just taking stock. Crikey, I know 200 people. Who knew? Doesn't mean I'm going to ring them. Then pull out a hit list. Go back to what Italo said last week. Cycles. Pull out 30 names. Let's make 10 calls today, 10 calls tomorrow, 10 calls the next day. We've done half a cycle. Let's get started. So by doing that and having it written down, you will always look back and go, man, I've got so many names I haven't called yet. But if you don't do that, like James said, if you don't write that list down, you'll go, yeah, I don't really know anyone. And I look at people like that and I go, well, that's weird. How come you got 890 people on Facebook if you don't know anyone? Oh, yeah, but I don't know them well. We didn't say write your best mates down. That's how many people you know if you could instigate a conversation. So it's empowering when you see how many people you know. Third-party validation, the last thing I'll talk about. You heard that from Irene. Big aha moment. Use your upline. If you say to your upline, I'm sorry for bugging you, that's what they're there for. Your diamond gets paid an infinity bonus to help you no matter where you fit in the team, right? So when it comes to third-party validation, I love the aha moment from James because guess what? He's right. At the early stages, I was on calls in that James's team, the LMV team, corporate were as well. If you are an existing member in Numi now and you got started back then and you're not doing them now, why? I had Alex on one just with Matt the other day. Doesn't change. Just because you got knowledge doesn't mean you shouldn't be using third-party validation. It's the most critical step. In fact, I'll wrap up now just by saying this. The call I was on a few minutes ago or an hour ago with the Peru team, who was super excited, gold nuggets left on the ground when someone walked away. They understand third-party validation. And I said, here's my diary, book me in anytime you want. That is the most productive use of my time, is being on third-party validation calls. That's where I should be. I shouldn't be recruiting new people. I should be working with you guys and being the third-party edification, if you like, in that process. So thank you, Irene, and thank you, James, for sharing today. Thank you, Keith, being an awesome MC, and Phoebe for helping me with the door to keep this thing moving. I hope you all got a lot out of today's call. And remember, Steve, I think, is back. I think. And just double check it. We'll probably get an alert out in the app, and we'll have Steve doing the Hydrostat breakthrough tomorrow. And again, right now, if you are a Facebook friend, go wish Liz a happy birthday and feel free to enter into